Hello everyone. I'm back after so long. I do apologize for not uploading anything in a while since life has been very busy, plus I was on vacation in Spain for 2 weeks last month, but enough about that. I'm here to share my thoughts on the new Godzilla movie that will be coming out soon called Godzilla Minus One. Now, I know the teaser was released on July 11th. I wanted to do a reaction for it, but was too lazy. However, I did see the teaser trailer and it made me go,
"Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!"
I can honestly say that I'm way more hyped for this movie than I am the new Monsterverse movie. Now, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy the Monsterverse, but lately, it has become pretty stale to me.
He doesn't mean that.
Not to mention with the stuff going on in Hollywood, I honestly just don't seem to care at all for this universe anymore.
I respect that.
But seeing this new teaser has really gotten me excited, and I do mean a lot. It has been almost 7 years since Toho has done a live-action Godzilla movie. The last one we got was Shin Godzilla, which I still like, but I do have my issues with the film. Not only that, but we've gotten a mediocre anime trilogy, a decent anime series, but we've always wondered, when will Toho do another Godzilla movie in live-action form? Well, we will finally be getting it. And by looking at the teaser, I honestly say this is going to be one of the best Godzilla movies ever. And I do mean that, since what we see in the teaser looks like they are bringing back the seriousness of the character.
Oh, good. Why, that's very good. Yes, I like that.
Based on what we saw in the teaser, we see a destroyed area, more like a crater, lots of destruction that has been caused, plus people running in terror, not to mention a poor little girl amongst the crowd trying to search for her parents, I assume. Then we see a train being thrown on the tracks as it explodes. Later we see Godzilla's foot stomping on the streets as more civilians flee in terror, and then we get the money shot. Damn! Just by seeing an image of the new Godzilla biting down on what looks like a train has me hooked. Heck, this feels like it's almost a remake of the 1954 film. Plus, I'm definitely getting some King Kong 2005 vibes from this. I have read that this movie does take place in post-war Japan after the bombing of Hiroshima, and it's going to be a period piece film, which is great, since that's an important part of our history regarding the use of nuclear weapons and how it affected the world. Not to mention, a lot of people assume that this was a continuation of Shin Godzilla. However, not really, since I did read that it will have the same tone and feel as that movie. Plus, with the synopsis being read, the worst despair in the series' history strikes Japan. After the war, Japan has been reduced to zero. Godzilla appears and plunges the country into a negative state. The most desperate situation in the history of Japan. Who and how will Japan stand up to it? Judging by what this synopsis says, this looks like the film will be one of the darkest entries in the series yet. A Godzilla movie set in post-war Japan sounds amazing, since in the original film it took place after the post-war, but this is the first time a Godzilla movie has ever done this. I like that it's taken itself very seriously, especially with the moral about nuclear weapons. That has always been what Godzilla has stood for, being a metaphor for the atomic bomb, especially being a force of nature out to punish mankind for their arrogant ways, which still holds up to this very day. Plus, Godzilla attacking Japan after the bomb was dropped, that sounds incredible. In fact, it's genius. This is something I wish Legendary incorporated more in their films. We sorta did in 2014, but not 100%. Don't get me wrong, I still love Legendary's take on the character. However, the nuclear theme of what made Godzilla unique in the first place just isn't there. But with Shin Godzilla, it did brought it back, but that was based on the Fukushima nuclear disaster that happened in 2011. But this movie seems to be bringing back that tone and cranking it up to 11, which is perfect. Honestly, this feels like a sequel to Oppenheimer, which I did see while I was visiting Spain, and I highly recommend checking it out. It's that good. One of Nolan's greatest films yet. Now, before I get off topic, I want to talk about the Big G himself, especially the new design. And by God, this design looks
Nice.
I frickin' love this new design of Godzilla. He looks incredible, especially more ferocious than ever before. I like how the spikes look especially closely resembling the Millennium Godzilla designs, mainly Meyer Goji and Kuryu Goji. However, I really like that he looks almost identical to the Heisei Godzilla mixed with Legendary. Not to mention that SH Monster Arts has made a figure of this new Godzilla that made me go,
"Shut up and take my money!"
But what I have noticed is that this design is an updated version of the Godzilla motion simulator ride at the, I'm probably gonna butcher this name, Saibuyan, I think, amusement park, and I love that design as well. This looks like how a modern version of Godzilla should look like, especially giving that grotesque burned rug skin texture that makes it look like he came right out of the H-bomb. Hollywood, take notes. This Godzilla looks like it's going to do so much damage and destruction, since that's what the character is best known for. Plus, given that it closely resembles the Heisei Godzilla, which to fans, and including myself, has always been the staple design for the character, especially being the definitive version of that character. Not to mention, I do see some resemblance of the unused design from the unmade 94 film before it became 98.
Thank you for that.
But still, I'm very much looking forward to seeing this Godzilla in action. However, we haven't seen him use his atomic breath yet. Maybe they are saving that for when the movie comes out. What I really hope is that this Godzilla isn't portrayed as a mindless beast, because he simply isn't. And it always frustrates me whenever someone says that. Godzilla is not mindless. He does what he does because he's just angry for what humanity has done to him, and unleashing his wrath on those responsible, but at the same time being somewhat sympathetic. That is something that Toho themselves have forgotten, especially with their new guidelines about having an OP yet emotionless Godzilla, and like Sonic says,
That's no good.
hopefully, this would convince them to let Godzilla be a character for future installments. Hopefully. The film will be directed by Japanese filmmaker Takashi Yamazaki. Now, I'm not really too familiar with his work, but I have done my research. I do know he has made a sequence involving Godzilla in one of his films, Always on Sunset 2. In that sequence, we see a Showa-era Tokyo being destroyed, then we get a reveal of Godzilla himself. Even though it was a dream sequence, it was still incredibly shot, especially giving it that old-school Showa feel in the modern age. Not to mention, Godzilla himself looked pretty cool. Plus, This guy has also directed the short film Godzilla the Ride: Giant Monsters Ultimate Battle for the motion simulator ride in the, I'm gonna butcher it again, am I? Shibuyan Amusement Park. I hope I said that right. And based on what I've seen, it looked incredible. I'll say...
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Despite it being a motion simulator ride, it was really well done. The way the monsters looked, especially the effects and cinematography, it felt like a modern version of what a Godzilla movie would look like from Toho, of course. I plan to go to Japan someday and experience it for myself, since it does kind of remind me of the King Kong 360 ride at Universal Studios Hollywood. However, I also did read that he is the visual effects supervisor of all of his own movies. Not to mention, he has a pretty good filmography. Even though I haven't seen most of his films, I do plan to though. In fact, I heard that he's also a Godzilla fan himself, and based on what I read in an interview for the film, which made me think that he is the perfect guy for the job for handling the Big G, he said, post-war Japan has lost everything. The film depicts an existence that gives unprecedented despair. The title, Godzilla Minus One, was created with this in mind. In order to depict this, the staff and I have worked together to create a setting where Godzilla looks as if fear itself is walking towards us, and where despair is piled on top of despair. I think this is the culmination of all the films I have made to date, and one that deserves to be experienced rather than watched in the theater. I hope you will experience the most terrifying Godzilla in the best possible environment. Now, if that alone doesn't get you hyped for this movie, then I don't know what will. I do have faith in Yamazaki, and I believe he's going to do a great job directing this film, since he knows what he's doing and has a better understanding of the character than Hollywood ever does. Because let's face it, Hollywood just doesn't understand Godzilla. Not only is he a fan, but he's also an experienced filmmaker, which really gives me hope for this film, because it ain't no commercialized, typical Hollywood blockbuster that sadly the new Monsterverse movie is just going to be, since it's being directed by a filmmaker who knows his stuff, knows what he is doing, and not working for some big name studio. Looking at you, Warner Bros. Overall, I honestly cannot wait for this movie to come out, since the film will be releasing in Japan on November 3rd, which marks Godzilla's 69th birthday. However, the movie will be released in the US on December 1st of this year. It's a great time to be a Godzilla fan, and I do think this movie will be one, if not the greatest film in the franchise. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Are you excited? Are you not? What do you hope to see in this new Godzilla movie? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take good care.